right, Judy, I'm coming. Hold on now. Hold on. Hey, let me sit on down. Well, welcome back to Cooking and Jamming. For those who do know me, you know me as DJ Big Daddy. And for those who are just jumping on in here for the first time, welcome. And my name is Thomas. But you can call me DJ Big Daddy also, or Big Daddy, however you want to. So it's Sunday, and what I like to do is I like to really get down and get my home cooking on Sundays, because Sunday dinner is important to me. No matter if you're single or got entertaining folks or you cooking for your family. So this is really kind of a second half of a two-part video. You know, because on Sundays I try to do at least 2 videos, because Sunday cooking involves a couple of different things. So I'm going to show you how I make greens. Okay, now it's simple, and really how you get your taste of your greens is how you season your pot liquor. Okay, now pot liquor is the broth or water or whatever it is that you have your greens simmering in. Okay, so today I'm going to show you how I do greens. Now this is a greens trio mix. Okay, I'm using a bag, and in this bag it has collard greens, kale, and mustard greens in it. I like the mix because kale is really good for you. We're going to use an onion, a ham hock, because the ham hock gives the broth and the greens its smoky taste. Okay, and I'm going to do something different, because usually just this alone and maybe some garlic and some bacon or something like that, is mostly all you need. But today I'm going to do something different, because I can't remember who. Somebody made greens one time, and they had, and I think it was a friend of mine named Kennedy Davenport, who had sausage in her greens and everything. And then I've seen other recipes where people use bell pepper. So that's my thing, is sometimes I'll do things traditionally how I've done it, and sometimes I like to take a couple of different recipes and do something different and put that together. So today I'm going to use a little bell pepper. Now these are the tops. I did say I'm going to use them again. If you watch my video of my stuffed peppers, you'll see that this is where they came from. So waste not, want not, and a good cook always takes bits and pieces of everything to make a meal. So I'm going to use these. I'm going to use some bell pepper, some garlic cloves, and some smoked sausage to add in there, because too I do like to eat collard greens just by themselves. So like I may have them for lunch tomorrow, just take a little bit and heat them up for lunch. All right, so I'm gonna get my cutting board, my knife, and we're still jamming with Aretha, because I like to play my favorite records on Sunday, records that I grew up listening to and that get me in my cooking mood. And I think Aretha, all her body changes, she looked like a woman that liked good greens. You know what I'm saying? All right, so I'll be right back, Judy. Get comfortable and get your plate. So Judy, we're continuing with our greens now. I took my mixture and I have them in the sink because I've rinsed them off. Even though they were already pre-washed, I wanted to make sure I clean them again, because sometimes you got to do that. They've been sitting in the bag and moisture, between the packing process, sitting in a truck, sitting in the back of your local grocery store, or in some of your cases Wally World, and then being out on the floor, that moisture builds up, and that moisture sometimes can cause salmonella or some other food poisoning borne virus. So I made sure I clean mine really good. And I have cut up my sausage, the ham hock. Now with the ham hock, I took it and I boiled it for about 1 hour and 30 minutes because it was a pretty tender one. Now I'm going to tell you right now, if you get those ham hocks and they are really hard and dark, you're going to be boiling those things, I suggest, all day. And sometimes they still don't get tender. The lighter they are in color, the more tender they will be, okay? So I'm letting you know that now. If you get ham hocks and they're very light in color, like caramel color, those are fresh as they can be, and they're going to be very tender when you decide to boil them or start to cook with them. The darker they are, the bigger they are and the darker they are, those are from hogs that are older, and God knows how long have those ham hocks been sitting around somewhere, okay? Alright, so as you see, I'm turning that up a little bit. I have a little bit of the ham hock in there and that smoked sausage. Now the smoked sausage is a brand called Dickey's, Dickeys, and they're a barbecue company here in Houston or in Texas. If you ever come to Texas, especially Houston, go to Dickey's barbecue restaurant. You will love their food, okay? So what I'm going to do now is, since that's sauteing, and I also added a half a tablespoon of olive oil in there to help the saute process, but that sausage is making pretty much its own grease. I'm going to add my onions and my red bell pepper tops. Okay. We're going to get those sauteed in there. Now I have garlic in here, but I'm pushing that aside because we don't want that garlic to be in there with all of that, because what happens is if you saute garlic, and I don't know why people do that, but never saute your garlic at the same time with your onions and your bell peppers or your onions, because garlic burns easily. So you don't want to do that, okay? And burnt garlic or garlic that's been sauteed too long really tastes horrible in food. Now that's just my opinion, but you know, you live and learn. Alright, so I'm going to keep sauteing our sausage, ham hock, and now that sausage is pork sausage, okay? So I'm going to keep sauteing this all together for the next 5 to 8 minutes, and we're going to get our greens in there. Alright, so we are cooking and jamming. We're making collard greens. We are jamming to Aretha Franklin's and Curtis Mayfield soundtrack for the movie Sparkle. And if you've never seen it, I suggest you pull it up. And not the Whitney Houston version, okay? But the version with Irene Cara, Lynette McKee, and Mary Alice from 1975 or 76. And trust me, I mean, I like both versions, but you know, just a little quick history tip about this soundtrack. Aretha hadn't really had a hit since I think 73 with her Young, Gifted, and Black LP, and at the time the soundtrack for Sparkle was actually the original actresses, but Lynette McKee record company at the time, I think it was Private Stock, but I'm not sure. They were having some legal issues with Curtis Mayfield and Warner Brothers about, you know, her vocals. So, you know, I guess Warner Brothers Pictures and Curtis Mayfield was like, bump that. I ain't got time to be playing. This movie is almost done. We want the soundtrack done. We want it right. So he called in Aretha. And if you read in Aretha's biography, you'll find out that pretty much, I think she did her vocals in 5 days. Curtis works, I mean, the music was already done, so they just took Lynette McKee and Irene Cara's vocals off for the soundtrack, and Aretha jumped on in there with her arrangements, okay, and pretty much gave her her gold album, and was actually one of her last big hits of the 70s. And a couple of songs on that album have been remade and became popular again in the 90s with In Vogue. They redid Giving Him Something He Can Feel. And I can't remember the second song they did on their Funky Divas LP. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get our greens in here, because I've added the garlic real quick. Ooh, that water. So as you see, there's a mixture. There's some kale in there and some collards, and I think either mustard or turnip greens. Okay. Like I said, I'm a real cook, so stuff get on the stove, stuff drops, and that's how I see why everybody's dogs hang out in their house around the kitchen. All right, we're just gonna keep stirring these greens until they wilted, and we're gonna keep doing this step, and we'll be right back. We're cooking and jamming today, baby. Oh, so as you see, I'm getting those greens wilted down. Okay, so I'm kind of like, you know, sauteing them a little bit before I put the water, the broth in there. Now my broth, I have 2 cups here, and I made from boiling the ham hock with a little onion and garlic powder. Okay, get this. Hey, I hope that you guys are enjoying my videos and you're sharing them with your friends on your Facebook and, you know, Instagram and all that, because I'm seeing videos being made by some people around the same time I make videos. They look like they filming videos on old flip phones. No light, no real good sound, bad cooking, and they getting all these views. And I don't know about all that, but hey, it is what it is, you know. But I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have you here, and hope you're learning something or enjoying it. So now what we're going to do is going to add the broth, and we're just going to add it until it just barely comes up on our greens. We don't want to over drown them like that. Okay, we're going to add a little more. There we go. Oops. Because they're already cooked down, or they wilted down. And we're going to add just a little more. So I'll say about 2.5 cups. Alright. Now, if you don't have, you know, broth that you've already used, you know, you tenderized your ham hock or your smoked meat in, you can go and get chicken stock or chicken broth or whatever kind of broth you want to use, and just start your greens that way. Okay, but I do suggest sauteing your onions and everything beforehand. Alright, so let's see what else we're going to use here. We're going to do a little onion powder, just a couple of shakes, about 2 or 3 shakes like that. Okay, a little salt, not much, because eventually we're going to come back to this in about an hour and taste it, just to see if it needs more seasoning. A little Creole seasoning, because it has a little bit of everything in there: paprika, red pepper, and oh, hold on Judy, I'll be right with you. Vinegar. Just a table. I mean, just about a teaspoon or so. So I use about a capful. See? Just about a capful. I put that in there. Now see, in the South, people they put vinegar, because see, actually the vinegar is supposed to break down the collard greens and make them more tender. But I just like the taste of it in my greens, in my pot liquor. We're going to get all of that mixed together. Ooh, don't that look nice? Okay. Now, like I said, it's up to you. Whatever you want to add to your pot make your pot liquor, make your greens taste good. That's what you use. You do your thing, okay? Also, a little trick I learned from a lot of people down south here growing up. Just a pinch of sugar. Don't ask me why. I've always seen it done. A lot of people do it. It doesn't make them sweet, but I think it interacts with the vinegar. Okay. All right, so we're gonna let that boil. We're gonna get that boiling like that. We're gonna get a top on it. Ooh, Judy, I'm telling you, it's hot up in this kitchen, but that's how cooking is. Like they say, if you can't stand the heat, get out the kitchen. I see why some people don't cook. They don't like the heat. All right, so they started boiling. We're gonna turn it down and let it simmer for an hour, and we'll be back to taste it. Ooh, Judy, it smells so good up in here. All right, so it's been over an hour and 30 minutes, and these are what our greens look like. They're very tender. I've tried them. They got a little kick to them, and they are done. So remember, it's really simple, really easy, and like I said, the flavor comes from what you put in there. If you don't season your pot liquor, your greens will be bland, okay? And nobody wants to eat bland, tasteless greens. All right, so it was pretty easy. I used a smoked ham hock that I boiled and simmered for about an hour and 30 minutes. I also used some bell pepper, an onion, some garlic, and smoked sausage to give it a little bit more kick, and it was something new I've done. And I sauteed all that together. Then basically I wilted my greens and added the broth that I used, that I basically boiled my ham hock in. I added salt, pepper, Cajun seasoning, a pinch of sugar, and about a capful of white distilled vinegar, and cooked for about close to an hour and 45 minutes or so, and they are done. All right, so I want you to remember to subscribe, share. If you have any questions about any of my recipes, or something you may want to try and cook, or something you want me to cook, or even request some music, whatever the case might be, just remember you can get me at cookingandjamming.com. I'm on Facebook, Cooking and Jamming, YouTube here, of course, and Instagram, and you can find me anytime, anywhere. But until next time, remember, food plus music equals love, and these are my two things I love to share with you. So to our next Kiki, holla at a player when you see them in the street. Don't try to trip them. All right, love you. Talk to you later. Keep cooking and jamming. Get in there, Judy. Look at that. Look at that. Let's make some cornbread.